Veronica Viper has been performing burlesque since she made her debut in the fabulous Fuck You review in 2017. Since then, she has been entertaining, titillating, and infuriating audiences throughout New York and beyond. She is self-described as trans, queer, poly, kinky, angry, and consistently censored. I met with Veronica at the Slipper Room in New York City to discuss what it's like for her to be transgender in the world of burlesque. Hello, I am Bradford Scobie. I'm sitting here at the bar of the historic Slipper Room in historic New York City alongside my friend, the lovely, the talented burlesque legend, Veronica Viper, everybody. Veronica, thank you so much for being had.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to do everything in my power not to shove my foot in my stupid face. All right, so please be patient and be gentle, Veronica Viper.
I'm always gentle, and I love shoving my feet in people's faces. So this is a match made in heaven.
All right, wonderful. I'll give you a shrimp job when we cut. Anyway, so let's just get to the...
Crack the egg.
Yeah, what are your pronouns? There's a start.
She, her. Thank you for asking.
Yes.
That's a great thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I host burlesque shows, and when I can sense it's appropriate, I do ask that question a lot.
Yes.
And then other times I don't realize I should have asked it, and that's one of the many times that I feel like an asshole. So here we are. Anyway.
Good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Never to assume someone's gender.
Yes.
Especially if you're in a space that you know is going to foster a safe environment. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's not going to happen at the grocery store, but especially in creative spaces, it's a good idea to go with they, them until you determine. And I'm getting a lot of emails these days. Most of them say, like, send your name and your tagline and your pronouns.
Right.
And, you know, I think we're well on the way for it becoming, like, part of the standard course, you know?
Do you feel that, this burlesque scene, as you know it, to be a safe space?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, sure. It's a safe space, depending on where you are and who you're with, and I think that's true for everything. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I was just having this conversation with someone recently, and they, Frankie, I love you. They used the phrase brave space. Meaning that whatever we're going into, even if I'm going into a scene that I know is going to be like 100% queer, you're always masking, and you're always putting on a persona, and you're always trying to navigate social circumstances, and up to and including what seems to be, you know, complicated for people, which is pronouns, you know, even for queer people in queer spaces. So universally, you're safe when you create a safe space around you, or when you have people who foster that deliberately and specifically. So yes, there are places that I can go in the burlesque scene that are wonderful, safe spaces, and there are places that aren't.
Have you performed out of New York?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
How does that go?
I've been lucky, and I had great experiences, and I think that once I get in front of an audience, and if I do what I think I'm attempting to do, which is win people over, towards the end of it, I have definitely experienced my reception go from, you know, uncertainty, being nice, you know, and to being widely accepted, you know. And I performed in Savannah, where it was a wonderful queer community, and it was a super safe space, and you know, that's in the South. It's like, oh, it's Georgia. It's really, but also in that moment, in that microcosm, it was a safe space, you know, and it's more of an experience when performing brings me outside of the box, what goes on around the performance, you know, being in a different town or traveling to and from a show or something like that. Those things are much more complicated than the actual shows themselves. You know,
Right.
The shows are bastions. You know, like that's the oasis.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Because you're elevated, and there is a safety.
There's a safety in that, and there's a implied sense of authority in that, even if there isn't. You know, I could, if I am feeling threatened or whatever, I can go hide in the dressing room. I don't have to stay with the crowd. Like, there's maneuverability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that when you perform, that when you first come out, there can be some confusion, and then the reality starts to blossom.
Yeah.
And then they are challenged.
Yeah.
And then you are so fantastic that when it gets to the end, they have been on such a journey, and you have won them over to the point where the applause has an air of it feels more loaded to me, you know, than if someone comes out and they're just more front door burlesque, you know what I mean? God love those people.
Yes, of course.
But with you, it's a real journey, and then when they come out the other side, they're almost like relieved that they love you. You know what I mean? And I feel like people learn from that and take away from that. But I guess what one of my questions is that just exhausting?
Yeah, it's you know, you approach something from the other angle, which is fantastic, because I've talked about this before. And it's something that exists with any marginalized person of color, disability, whatever it is, whatever marginalizes that person. Whenever they get involved in something that elevates you or puts you in a spotlight, whether it's figuratively or not, you immediately get this responsibility to not fuck up.
Yeah.
You know? You have the weight of the world on your shoulders in that moment, because in my particular case, the 70% of people in the room, because of where I'm performing, might be tourists, might be some people from outside of New York City where I am, and they have never even seen a trans woman, let alone a non-passing trans woman, let alone a non-passing trans woman that refuses to wear a wig because fuck you.
Right.
And then I get naked, you know, and like, you can't fuck up in that moment.
Yeah, no bloopers here.
No bloopers there, because, you know, those people are going to walk away with a impression that is more specific to me and someone like me than just like any number of beautiful people that were dancing in a show. You know, like, everyone's going to remember this.
Yeah.
You know, well, I shouldn't say it like that, but, you know, that's the approach. That's the approach.
Yeah.
You know, and that responsibility is there. I think you see it with racial things. I think that there's stereotypes that like bleed into that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Well,
Yes, it's fucking exhausting.
So that actually leads me to another question I had for you, which was, in that you go full junk.
Not always, because you told me I thought you were all junk all the time.
Yes.
And I was like,
all junk all night, folks.
Come for the junk.
Stay for the, I don't know.
Junk.
Right. Anyway, but in that you do go full nude, would you say full nude, or I
do have acts. I do have acts where I go full nude.
Yes.
There are very few places where I can go full nude.
Right.
And that one of those places happens to be the Historic Slipper Room.
Yes.
Because it's a theater.
Yeah.
And so we tend to work together there.
Yeah.
Consistently.
So, my question was, in that you do that. It is, it's. I mean, it's one thing if just a gal gets naked, you know.
Sure.
Which in itself, to the crowd that generally comes here, is like, wah! You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And anybody.
I'm like that. Yeah.
I mean, all crowds react that way.
I like naked women.
I do too, ironically. So anyway, we'll edit that out. So when you get fully nude, it's would you say
Transgressive act.
Is that a pun?
No, wait, fuck you. Yeah.
We'll edit that out. No, but is it a political statement?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Right. So
I am a pretty girl up on stage getting naked.
Yeah.
You know? But unfortunately, because we are who we are, and we are the world that we are, that is a transgressive political act of defiance, or, you know, or in a more positive light, like we were talking, like there's a portion of that audience who have never seen a trans woman, and you can damn sure be bet that they have never seen a trans woman naked, and they've never seen a trans woman naked outside of the guise of like hardcore porn,
right?
Which I love, and you know, porn's fantastic. That's not a knock on porn because I make porn too, but like,
oh, I didn't know that.
But like, it's just a different circumstance and a different context to see trans bodies, and we're trying to see it more in advertising. We're trying to see it more in this and that and the third thing.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, like in my own, like, of course I'm aware. I know what I look like. I know what the world perceives me as, and I know the experience that this group of people are going through, are about to have, you know. But the reality comes down to is, for me, I'm just another girl getting naked on stage.
Yeah. That seems to be the statement you're making when you do it. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a fuck you, I'm pretty, you know?
Yes,
check it out.
That's exactly fucking correct.
And I feel like usually people get that.
Boiled down my whole fucking act into that. Great, thanks.
And I'm
for a second?
Oh, yes.
I just want to make sure.
Fuck you, I'm pretty. That's precisely it.
That should be your tagline.
Fuck you, I'm pretty. Veronica Viper.
Quiet on the set.
I love your kids.
I do too. Little monsters. As a homonormative person myself, I do wonder about how you feel when you perform in front of an all queer audience. Is that
it's totally different experience.
Is it all good? Is it? I mean,
being in front of any audience, for me, as the person I am, as the performer I am, as the exhibitionist I am, any audience for me is good. But the dynamic changes from me being, fuck you, I'm pretty, and you need to understand this, to a room full of people who are aware that I'm pretty. You know? So I can let all of that go, and I can just be pretty for them, and I can just tell my story to them without having to set the context. You know, I don't have to build the world for them because they're part of it. I just have to tell them my personal story.
Yeah.
You know, whereas in different spaces, which is where I almost exclusively perform, in non-queer spaces, is because of my appearance, is because I'm challenging, is because I'm transgressive, and I have the strength of will to deal with it, to deal with the ignorance, to deal with the questions, to deal with the laughs, to deal with the stares, because I know that there's a benefit to it.
Yeah.
At least I have to believe that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if it's true.
It is
Maybe
true.
it's fucking nothing. I don't know, but I have to believe it.
I see it with my own eyes and
know?
ears. You're educating people. You're changing their minds.
I mean, I wish that. I hope that's true. I pray that that's true, and I hope that effort is seen. You know, because it is conscious. I don't. I consciously make an effort to be in spaces that wouldn't normally have someone like me. You know,
That's very brave of you.
Well, I don't know about that. Like, I think it's because I'm angry, and it's because I'm pushy. You know, so
Yeah.
book me,
Motherfuckers.
book me.
And on that note,
Fuck you, I'm pretty.
Veronica Viper, everybody. Oh, right?
You're definitely gay.